So it's crazy out there. There's no getting around it. It is unpredictable chaos that could be potentially not only just deadly, but really contract our economy and our livelihoods and our lives for decades to come. And our only real solution at the moment is to go into hiding and to isolate, be alone. It's terrible, but honestly, I have to admit something. I know this feelings, I know this sensations all too well. Because what you're going through right now, what we're experiencing as a group, was a big part of my childhood. This is what I lived through day to day. And because I lived through it, because I sit here now, because I can have a grin on my face, I know how to transform it. I know how to work with this. I know how to deal with these feelings, this situation. I know how to make it in like a vaccine shot for your soul. So if you want a taste of my story, as well as some insight for yourself, then watch. Join me on my little journey. The insanity that we're in right now, the isolation, feeling like you're in a prison, well, I know there's a way through it. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm Trella. I'm a transformational coach, a leadership strategist, and an intuitive healer. And I know there's a way through it because I have lived it. Now it's time for a story that I promised you. The year was 1969. It was the summer of love for a damn good reason. Humanity had landed on the moon. That is one of the two magical things that happened in that year, in my opinion. And of all the powerful things that we are still benefiting from to this day, from what it took to get us to the moon, for me, the exclamation point of that moment in time was when the astronauts took that moment and turned around to look up into the dark, sparkly sky and see for the first moment our precious, fragile, beautiful blue planet. In that moment, we gained awareness of our connectedness, our shared humanity, and our meekness, that aha. The other amazing thing that happened in 1969 was I was born. Now, my childhood had a lot of things, but one thing it definitely had was terror. Unpredictable, methodical, sinister levels of terror. Now, when I was a little bitty kid, how I dealt with this was to find places to hide. I was an expert. I could hide anywhere for long periods of time. I could go into closets and get underneath things. So even if you did look in the closet, you wouldn't know I was there. I could control my breathing so I wouldn't be heard. I would train myself to deal with my fears in the dark. It worked in a way. But then when I was an older kid and a teenager, I had enough presence, enough of a body to start to be able to stand up for myself, to take the blows, to become a protector, to become a martyr, to become a defender for those who wouldn't or couldn't for themselves in my life. It certainly made me a fighter of sorts, that's for sure. So now it's time to understand all this from another perspective. That insight I promised you. Well, now it's time to share. No matter what you have gone through or what you are going through right now, the strongest path is to trust. It's to trust being vulnerable to your most humble, beautiful, loving self, that part of you that is your unique humanity that makes you not just love yourself, but like yourself, even when nobody's looking. It's that part of yourself that nobody can ever take away. So that intensely potent and fragile part is amazing, and it generates joy, but it needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be respected and cared for and protected. Sometimes you need to become the lion to protect the lamb. Jesus said, "And may the meek shall inherit the earth." And for some, this is one of his more mysterious teachings. But for me, it makes sense. When we take a moment to still ourselves, to close our eyes, to listen, to be vulnerable to that, and hear that vital, precious, meek part of us that is there like a beautiful babe to be held, we discover, we honor, and we own that meek in ourselves, and thus we get to inherit and receive the home of who we really are, as well as everything we have learned. It's kind of like owning the pit of the peach as well as the peach itself, or the seed of the cherry as well as the cherry itself. You cannot have one without the other. A pit is gnarled and ugly and hard and huge, but look at the fruit it makes. Cherries, they represent life and rebirth. But the seed of a cherry, it contains poison. If you eat them, you'll get sick or even die. Yeah. So you must own those sides to yourself. And when you do, when you own that, when you become able to do that for yourself, oh boy, you can do it with anybody else too. And when we all inherit the meek in ourselves, then we all inherit the earth, our global home, and our shared humanity, our shared connection. But I have to warn you, it comes with a powerful price. The constant, vigilant act of learning to still yourself and allowing yourself to realize and your true, vulnerable, meek parts and what you need to become the lion to protect and care and own them well, that takes practice. Let me tell you, it takes practice. But it does make you a damn sight more bulletproof, that's for sure. Now, I know it's hard to meet that part of yourself and to care for that part of yourself. and to work with that part of yourself. I really do. It made me a bit of an expert in it. So if you want a guide, if you want an amazing guide who can hold your hand and walk with you, then give me a call. My contact information is below. And if the journey I took you on today touched you in any way, then show me a little bit of that precious love of yours. And share this video with others. Like the video. And subscribe. Because I look forward to chatting with you more. Peace.